Right then. United drew with Leeds, and I hate Leeds. I absolutely hate Leeds. I'm annoyed. I'm I'm pissed off, to be honest. Um, Pissed off that we started slowly. Pissed off that um the referee was poor. Pissed off with dropping points after this run that we was on at home. If I try and analyze the game with any sort of thought about it, right? The one thing I would say is Leeds mid block was absolutely outstanding. When you have a mid block, it's a narrow, flat 4-3-3. They're blocking off the obvious passing lanes into midfield. So Bitzer was in possession, sort of there as the lone six, and either wasn't making himself available, wasn't dynamic laterally, trying to get on the ball, or was being blocked off. And it could be a combination of both of those, with Bamford blocking off the passing behind to get onto him. But there's solutions to this problem. And it's not necessarily the only solutions to this problem. Are we going long? If we're not going long, why are we leaving Weghorst that high up the pitch? Why can't Weghorst come and occupy one of the midfielders in the middle three? And Fred hides, by the way. And I don't necessarily know if that's a bad thing, because on the ball, Fred gives me heart palpitations, man. He's so unpredictable. It was a poor performance from him. And I thought it was almost a throwback to pre-Casemiro, pre-Eriksen, when United couldn't play out. Because it's not just lack of options in midfield, right? There's options. There's always options. But are they moving? Are they allowing themselves to be marked? Are they rotating? If you bring Weghorst in, right? Now it's 4 versus 3. Is Bruno coming in to rotate? Bruno can receive the ball under pressure. Is he coming in deep to rotate, or is he staying high? Are we staying with a regular sort of triangle with Sabitzer at the bottom of it and Bruno and Fred sort of on the same sort of line? Because that's exactly what he was doing. Took a photograph of it. That was the issue when playing out. Now, one thing that I saw which was trying to alleviate it a little bit, because they were so narrow, because they were so compact, we were dropping our fullbacks below the centre half so they could step forward and we had somewhere to go when they pressed us. And sometimes there's a clip that's been doing the rounds on social media showing how good Brighton are under the press, inviting the press. And sometimes you want to do that. Sometimes you want to drag players off into a position. But one thing that they were doing excellently, and we was doing jack shit to remedy it or to get around it, is that we was playing or allowing the ball to be played up into the wing areas. And Leeds was pressing with 3 players, little triangle, every time the ball went into that space. And when the ball was going into that space, they was pressing it. And United didn't have the ability to be able to, because you lose Casemiro, you lose Eriksen, you lose a hell of a lot of quality on the ball. And then you lack the ability to be able to play through that sort of pressure. Now, later in the game, when we moved Rashford centrally and we had Sancho on one wing and Palestra on the other wing, we had an option of going over the top of it, and going over the top of it was quite effective. It was a mid-block, not a low block. A low block, you have to use the width, and you're not going to get in behind it because it's dropped all the way back into the box. But as you saw, Leeds was a mid-block or even a high block, and they were spacing behind it all day long. Now, I disagree with some people's assessment that Garnacho was poor in the first half. I thought he was probably the brightest spark for United. Rashford does nothing on the right-hand side. He offers nothing off the right-hand side. But in theory, at least, he should be the most adaptable out of the two. You've got a young lad here in his first professional season, and you've got a seasoned pro that's in great form. Out of those two, which one do you think is going to be more effective playing in the wrong position? So I can understand it. There was a guy going bananas on the radio. As I happened to listen to Talk Sport because I just didn't want to listen to music, and it was the easiest thing to find. And there was a guy kicking off saying Ten Hag's a top 4 manager and we're never going to win anything with him because he's going to drop clangers like this. His decisions have been terrible. And I was like, all right, lack of options. And he was trying to say that Sancho should have started off the right. Sancho, I don't think, started a game since September or October. He's not ready to start a game. I think you can justify the decisions that was made. The one I was thinking might have been a better option at half-time would bring Malacia on, move short of centre-half, push Martinez into the 6 where we know he has played a couple of games, and see if we can play into midfield from there. That might give us a foothold. Sabitza's probably come in far too early to be able to be effective just yet. I thought he had some good moments on the ball, but he couldn't get on the ball enough, deep enough to be able to make an impact. We are missing Casemiro so badly. Yes, Sancho comes on and gets us a goal, saves us a point. He looked quite sparkly when he came on. He looked like he had a bit of something about him. Hopefully it's going to be enough to be able to do something, but we only saw him off the left. Marcus has kind of got the left on lock unless you're going to see Marcus down the centre more often, where he did actually get his goal. But you just had the feeling that it was always going to be one of those days. You know, you've got the new manager thing. Leeds came out and they put in a shift to stay in their shape. And you got to hold your hands up sometime and says that shape was amazing. And the discipline to hold that shape was fantastic. Gnonto scores after 55 seconds, fuck's sake. But they had 2 shots on target. And United had so many opportunities to kill the game off. So many. And it was just not quite happening for us. Pissed off because it's more points dropped, but as I said, we weren't in a title race. We weren't. When you didn't beat Palace and you didn't beat Arsenal, you weren't in a title race. If you'd have beaten those two, maybe. But we didn't, and then you've dropped even more points now. So when Arsenal pick up their next win, we could be 10 points off them. Yes, that sort of lead has been turned over in the past, but I don't think this United side is title challenge worthy. It's an excellent first season for Ten Hag, and it's a step in the right direction, probably 2 steps in the right direction, probably a lot further along than we thought we would be. And maybe that's because how bad Liverpool have been, and maybe that's because of how Chelsea have been, but the fact remains, we could comfortably finish 3rd, and depending on what happens with City, we could even finish 2nd. But it's not a title season. It's just not. And I think it's shown when Casemiro misses. I think we've now lost 4 of the 5 games that he's missed. We didn't lose, did we? Well, it feels like a loss. I feel like we just lost it. We got to find a way of playing without Casemiro. He offers us so much that I don't think we're even fully seeing everything that he does for us. That's a tough one to take. And Leeds are definitely going to be buoyant going into Sunday. They're going to fancy their chances. Can lightning strike twice at Ellen Road with the crowd on your back? It probably can. We're going to be in for a tough one, trust me.